Well, hello and welcome to Understand Men Now. I'm Jonathon Aslay of JonathonAslay.com. I'm so excited to be shooting this short video for you today. Our topic, the seven traits of trustworthy men, what every woman must know. I'm just going to tell you, I'm really excited about shooting this live for you. And if you're watching the recording, I'm just going to jump right into the content. No pussyfooting around. Excuse my French. I'm going to adjust my chair for 1 second. All right, we're going to talk about trustworthy men today. Now, let's face it, trustworthiness or feeling trust in a relationship is significantly important, because if we don't have trust in a relationship, how can we build the foundation or the roots to a healthy, happy relationship? Now, I'm speaking to those folks that want to be in partnership with someone, that want to be in a healthy, happy relationship with someone. How do you build those roots? Well, it first starts by choosing trustworthy people. And while the vast majority of human beings are rather, I'm going to say most people are good people, we just are all riddled with some flaws. And this is especially true in the dating realm. The reality, by the way, if anyone's on, please post a comment to let me know you're here. But in the dating realm, what's interesting about the dating realm, God, I've said dating realm 3 times, is that dating actually triggers a lot of our emotional stuff. Dating can trigger our, I don't feel good enough about myself. I don't feel lovable. I don't feel likable, because we've literally become dependent upon other people liking us for us to feel good about ourselves. Did you hear what I just said? We've almost reached this place in society where we need others to love us for us to feel good about ourselves. And so I want to encourage a different way of dating, mating, and relating. And that starts by loving oneself within. And this is especially true of building trust within yourself. So what I'm about to share about trustworthy men really relates to everybody. This isn't singular to men. This is men and women alike. In fact, everything I'm about to share, ladies, for those ladies that are watching and guys are watching, this I would like to encourage everyone to embody. Now, really quickly, I don't see anyone in the live chat. So if anyone is there, please let me know you're there, just so I know this is working. All right, well, because this is a live Q&A and I want to be able to answer questions. Okay, great. Now I already see some people there. Okay, first, I want to share with you that this particular topic was birthed after I read the book Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. Now, and I don't have a copy of the book right now because I've already lent it out, but I want you to know that Brené Brown also wrote the book called Daring Greatly. So you want to check out this book, and I have a link to all my recommended books below. Just check out Jonathon Recommends Books. What I liked about Dare to Lead was one of the topics she talks about is the 7 elements of trust, In fact, I printed it out. So do yourself a favor, just to save yourself some time later, is print out the 7 elements of trust, type in Brené Brown, and type in the book Dare to Lead. Now, why am I talking about her work? Well, first off, I love the work of Brené Brown. I love what she talks about, vulnerability. And that vulnerability is actually the most courageous thing we can be. So in relationship, and ladies, for those of you that are in relationship, being vulnerable is absolutely critical to developing that bond with a guy. Now, this is the first stage of bond like this, but it's critically important. But you want to eventually meet this stage of bond, because this is where true commitment lies. Do you see it's hard to pull that apart? And in my private coaching program, I teach you how to develop the roots of commitment. And it starts first by recognizing trustworthy people. So I'm going to jump into these 7 trustworthy traits right now, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. So I have to put on my glasses. By the way, everyone knows me. I finally got a pair of prescription glasses. Tell me what you think of them. I no longer use these readers. This was the readers before. These are my prescription glasses. So, all right, let's jump into number 1, the 7 elements of trust. Okay, number 1 is boundaries. Now, what Brené Brown says, and I'm just going to briefly read this and I'm going to touch upon it. She says, Boundaries, you respect my boundaries when you're not clear about what's okay and what's not okay, and you ask, you're willing to say no. Okay, so why is this critically important? So boundaries, the way Brene Brown talks about, is what's okay and what's not okay for me. So when you're in relationship with a guy or girl, establishing your boundaries is a very healthy thing you can do in relationship. In fact, I had a friend reach out to me today and shared that her boyfriend was a little bit kind of gruff with her the other day. And rather than letting it go because he's had a pattern of being a little bit gruff, is that she shared with him what came up. She shared with him what came up and how she didn't appreciate it. So that's establishing a boundary, saying what's okay and what's not okay for me. Okay. Now, the way he reacted is an untrustworthy person would have pointed the finger right at her, would have pointed the finger at her and made her out to be wrong. In fact, that's kind of a gaslighting way of approaching it by not taking responsibility in what happened. So first she established the boundary, but here's the thing, because she's had a relationship for 2 or 3 years and it's a really great relationship. They have a really healthy relationship with one another. And she continually establishes boundaries when things are not okay. And he immediately owned up to what happened. That's the sign of a trustworthy person, because a person you can't trust is a person who's going to point the finger at you. And we sometimes call that gaslighting. We sometimes call that narcissistic behavior. I say sometimes is we can label something, we can label anything narcissist, well, not anything. Anything? Anything. Reminds me of a scene in the movie Cat in the Hat. If my son was watching this, he'd appreciate that. We can label a lot of things narcissistic and whatnot, but it's sometimes just garden variety cluelessness by a human being. So I'm really not a big proponent of always pointing the finger at narcissism when someone is just a little bit clueless. He owned what happened, he accepted her boundary, and that is the sign of a trustworthy person. The second element of trust is reliability. And what Brene Brown wrote is you do what you say you do. At work, this means staying aware of your competency and limitations so you don't overpromise and you're able to deliver on commitments and the balance of competing priorities. I love this, reliability. It's basically saying your actions match your words consistently. Now, there are going to be times where we say, hey, I'm going to be there in an hour and you're late and you didn't follow up ahead of time with it. But is it consistent? I'm using time as a factor. Is it consistently being late, or is it that occasional kind of thing? Reliability is, can I consistently rely on you? Now, with some, I'm going to go use the time example because my ex-girlfriend will kill me right now. But I used to call it, whenever she says she'd be somewhere in a half hour, I always added a half hour to it, and I called it Sherry time. Or if she said she'd call me in 10 minutes, I'd add a half hour because that was Sherry time. But I wasn't, again, I'm trying to eliminate but in my vocabulary. I just want to say we've established enough trust in the relationship that I knew that this was just a pattern of her in that area of her life, but consistently in other areas of the person's life, they're reliable. You can count on them. They're there for you when you need them. This is why it's so critically important to build relationships, to build the roots of trust. Like I said, I talk about that in my private coaching, teaching women how to, these are the elements of trust, but I teach how to build trust. And I call them roots because a trust is like a tree. The deeper the roots are, the stronger that tree is. So in the case of that friend I was sharing with before, she's got strong, it's a strong rooted relationship. So when there's just a tiny mishap, it's not like I want you to think of a tree in a hurricane wind without roots. It's going to blow over. It's going to blow over. That's why developing the roots are important. And I'm teaching how to recognize trustworthy people. Reliability. Number 3, accountability. And what she writes, you own your mistakes, apologize, and make amends. You know, when I was preparing for this live stream, I was thinking about a speaking gig I did last year, And afterwards, we were mingling with people, and I was having a chat with two women, and I recognized that I was being really rather arrogant in the conversation. And I recognized this was after the conversation ended. And I like 5 minutes later, I came back and I said, ladies, I have something to share with you. I noticed that I was pontificating in this conversation. I went a little bit arrogant, and I just wanted to own it and take ownership of it. That's an example of taking personal responsibility, but I want to take this at a deeper level. Going back to that friend that I was sharing with her before, when she shared her boundary with a guy, he recognized what came up and he took ownership of it. He took accountability. That's a perfect sign of a trustworthy person. Is this sinking in? I hope it is. Please post a comment below. All right, number 4. I love this one. It's called the vault. The vault. Now, what she says here is you don't share information or experiences that are not yours to share. I know I need to know that my confidence are kept and that you're not sharing with me any information that other people should be kept confidential. Oh my God, this is a critical piece. I know I've done this before. I've shared a confidence with someone so unrelated to the person I had the confidence that I figured it would never get back to them. But I recognize I'm really betraying the confidence. So just like in my coaching practice now, when someone shares something with me confidential, I don't share it with someone else knowing that they probably would never find out about it, because that's actually breaking confidence. And that is, quite frankly, being out of integrity. One of the things I do for myself, and my invitation for everyone here, is to always be in a state of integrity. Do your best. Do I have the book? It's down there. The 4 Agreements. Check out the book, The 4 Agreements. It talks about being in integrity with yourself. And the vault is a perfect example of being in integrity and being trustworthy. Okay, number 5, integrity. Well, literally, I just piggyback the vault with integrity. Integrity is being in integrity with oneself. Can you be in integrity with oneself? Can you be in a space of going, you know what? I'm going to be impeccable with my word. I'm going to do my best. It's really about doing your best to be impeccable with your word. But it's also being impeccable with your actions. Because when someone is consistent, then if they make a foible, a flump, a blump, a flump, is that a word? Is flump a word? A bump? We have grace for them because they've established themselves as being trustworthy. So being in integrity. All right, number 6. Oh, I love this one. Nonjudgmental. Nonjudgmental. Oh my gosh. You know, here, I got to tell you, in social media, in particular on Facebook, people are vomiting their judgments about others consistently. And I can't, and under the guise that it's like, well, I'm being helpful, or I'm being honest. I'm going to be brutally honest. What oftentimes is brutal honesty is a judgment about another person. This is why I should have pulled up my book, The 4 Agreements. Where is it? Is it here? Oh, here it is. One of the main principles in this book is not making projections about others and not making judgments about others. Ladies and guys who are watching this, judgment is the enemy to love. Judgment is the enemy to love. By the way, really quickly, part of the reason why I scream, yell, is because just like a child that's about to touch fire, I'm yelling so you don't do this. Now, I know it triggers some of you, and I apologize for that, but I can't help it. I feel very parental, and that's why my yelling is merely just be careful of the fire is all, and it's my passion as well. Okay, non-judgment. And then number 7. I love number 7. Generosity. Oh my gosh. You know, in the dating realm, oftentimes people are so hyper-focused on their own needs. In fact, Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, said today's single in the United States is the most narcissistic person on the planet. They want the best from everyone else, and yet they're unwilling to do the same for another person. We are absolute takers here in the United States. This morning, I was working with a brand new client. I just adore her. She's from India. And what's interesting about those folks from India is that they have a whole different perception on life. And one of the biggest things in their life is always being of service to others, is what she said. And she was making the contrast to Americans who are always, and this is a judge. Oh, wait a minute. I just made a judgment. This is a stereotype observation. So I want you to understand this is a stereotype observation. Many, not all, many Americans are takers in the relationship realm instead of actually being givers. This is why I'm such a big proponent of Marianne Williamson's work. Marianne Williamson's work is one of my favorite books she wrote is Return to Love. Return to Love. Check out the link to that book, because it's all about coming from a place of generosity, of compassion, both loving yourself and everyone else. Loving yourself. Oh, loving yourself. My book. What the heck is self-love anyway? Has anyone ordered my book? Please post a comment below. I'd like to know if you have. If you have, I'm so grateful. Here's the back cover. Loving oneself and everyone else. That is a great place to start for generosity. All right, we're going to start taking questions now. So I want to prepare us for some questions by playing a little music. Please post a question if you have one. Can anyone guess this song?
Stop me now.
Say what? Yes! Don't stop me because I'm having a good time. Post a question. Come on, it's Q&A time. Post some questions. I'm gonna go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right. Come on, someone post a question. Yes, Virginia. You all got it right. All right, please post a question. Come on. That's true narcissism. Very serious. Not all assholes are toxic people. That is correct. Don't stop me now. That is correct. Can someone please post a question? That's what this live stream Q&A is all about. We're going to answer your questions. So post a question. Well, maybe it takes a second for questions to come up. So thanks. I'm just going to be, okay, here we go. I did buy the book and it was a good read. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Can you comment on about blue and red pill men? Ellen, blue and red pill men. I'm going to be candid with you. I don't know enough about them to really comment on them. I do believe that there is this movement called men going their own way. And MGTOW, men going their own way. And what I do know about them is that there's this actual distrust for women because of a lot of unpleasant experiences with the other sex. Women do the same thing. When we've had an unpleasant experience, sometimes the pendulum swings the other way. The pendulum swings the other way and people just go a different direction. In fact, in the book, where's the book? Oh, I didn't pull it out. In the book, The Untethered Soul, it talks about the pendulum. So what happens with the men going under their own way movement, they're literally, it's kind of like what feminists did. They went the other direction from their contemporaries. And that's what men going their way has done, is that basically they're like, hey, it's my way or the highway, whether you like it or not, this is how I operate. That's my interpretation of it anyway. All right. Qualities of healthy, conscious relationship, green flags to look for. Okay. Brandy writes, qualities of a healthy, conscious relationship. I'm going to tell you, Communication skills is one of the most important things, as well as emotional maturity. This is why I continually recommend the book Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. When people learn how to actually communicate their needs, wants, and desires in a way that's seen, heard, and understood, when two people do that, they have the makings, they have the potential for a healthy, happy relationship. So I'm all about, I would highly recommend that if you're in a relationship with a man, if the penis gets to go in the vagina on a regular basis, then if you're not reading this book, then pull up the YouTube videos and watch them together. It should be, instead of doing Netflix binge of, well, I do like Game of Thrones, but although it's not on Netflix, it's on HBO. But instead of binge watching some show that's not going to bring value in your life, in your relationship, once a week, binge watch a YouTube video, maybe pulling up Marshall Rosenberg's videos on nonviolent communication, and make that a daily practice to help enrich your relationship so you can build the roots to trust that I talked about. I hope I helped on that one. All right, let's go back to some of these questions. When you say to a guy who says, let's talk this week, but doesn't follow through when you suggested a time. Okay, so a guy didn't follow through when you suggested a time. Well, that's basically a mistrusting act. Now, if it's a once-off thing, we have, I'm a big believer in grace. People can get caught up in something happening in their life. I mean, I'm going to cry right now. Those who know me know those who follow me know I lost my 19-year-old son, Connor, to an accident. And then the day he passed away, I had a date that night, a first date with a woman on Match.com. And I had to, I wasn't able to make the date. I mean, I had the worst tragedy in my life happen. So I've got to, please give me a second. Why I'm sharing this with you is everybody's going to have something happen in their life. It's a consistent, do the actions not match the words versus the one-off thing. That's what I would be more focused on. All right. How long does it take to trust again when trust was broken? I guess it depends on what trust has been broken. If I said I'm going to be there at 2 o'clock, if my recording said I was 2 o'clock and I didn't show up till 3, well, how big of a deal is that? I mean, you have to ask yourself, what trust was been broken? If it's infidelity, as an example, then it's going to take some heavy duty mutual healing. I'm using that as an example, if that particular trust was broken. So I think we have to look at what was it? Hey, I was late, I'm using that as an example. Now, again, this goes back to consistency. This is why the 7 elements of trust is more about, is it consistent behavior or one-off behavior? That's what I would rather focus on with that question. Oh, so someone asked me my thoughts on feminine energy. Bump, bump, bump. All right. So this is going to take me a few minutes to explain, and sit with me. So as many of you know, I'm not a big proponent of the whole feminine energy coaching. Now, part of the reason why I'm not a fan of it is it's actually teaching what I think is princess energy or prima donna energy. Now, this is just my perception of it. Now, because here's my feelings. Part of the elements of what is being taught in feminine energy is compassion, kindness, sensitivity, receptivity, compassion. Well, that's not masculine or feminine. The label of itself is unhealthy. Being compassionate, being generous, being kind, being receptive, being demonstrative, those aren't feminine or masculine traits. Those are human traits. This is why I'm such a big proponent of the book, If the Buddha Dated. Because If the Buddha Dated is a great book for learning the spirituality of a relationship that isn't gender-based. This whole masculine and feminine rhetoric is throwing things off kilter, because it's just the label I have an issue with. Look, I'm a compassionate, kind, generous guy. Am I feminine? Does that make me a weak, feminine guy? Sometimes the masculine and feminine behavior is criticized. For example, when a woman is in her doing mode and she's in control, she's in control, she's in control. Well, there's a judgment that being in control is a bad thing. It's when you try to control someone else that it's an unhealthy thing, but that's not a masculine thing. Masculine is simply doing and feminine is receiving. And ladies, if you follow my work, you all know I'm a big proponent of a relationship being a 2-lane street. Giving, receiving, receiving, giving, giving, receiving. It looks like 2 cars traveling down the road at the same time. A lot of them feminine energy coaches is just lean back and receive and let the man just give because he should claim you. Ladies, if you're dating in the over 40 category, you're going to have to claim a guy just as much as he claims you. This whole bullshit about the man does the claiming is a crock of shit. You have to, my invitation simply, the crock of shit is my perception, okay? My invitation is you claim each other. And it's a mutual effort of giving and receiving and giving and receiving. So let's throw out the label of feminine and masculine and just call it being a good effing human being. Being a good effing human being. That's what I like to say. I hope I answered your question, Antonia. Please let me know if I did. All right. I'm still wondering. Okay, someone writes, I'm still wondering about him being still referring to me as a friend, but everything he does is relationship oriented. So he calls me a friend, but everything is, Virginia, I need a little more details on that. And so if you're having regular sex together, you're spending regular time together, and out in public, he calls you a friend, that's bullshit. Either you're his girlfriend and you're his boyfriend or not. Again, if the penis gets to go in the vagina on a regular basis and you guys have oral sex with each other and you're giving him pleasure and you're giving him pleasure, then you have every right to define the relationship. Because here's the thing. Esther Perel, she wrote the book Mating in Captivity. You got to read this book. I love this book. She talks about what today's relationships are. She calls it stable ambiguity. It's companionship, connection, and sex. It's, in other words, it's committed to monogamy and exclusivity, but the ambiguous piece is where's this relationship going? Where the F is this relationship going? I'm here to say, if you want commitment like that looks like this, then you better have a plan and you better be talking about this. That's what a trustworthy person does. This is why I'm going to burp. I highly recommend the book 8 Dates by Dr. John and Julie Gottman. Oh my God, I love this book for teaching you the mechanics to a healthy, happy relationship. Because if you want to be in a relationship where you call each other boyfriend and girlfriend, then figure out what the mechanics look like. And if you need some support with this, schedule a coaching session with me or join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. It's only $20 a month. But for those that really want it, if you want commitment, then you should be scheduling a coaching session with me. You should check out the link to a free discovery call. All right. Thank you for your question, Virginia. Is it possible for a narcissistic man to really fall in love? Megan. So here's the concern I have. True narcissism only represents about 2% of the population, okay? Now, narcissists can be good people to be in relationship. They're very ambitious. They're very goal-oriented. There's a lot of benefits to being with a narcissist, except that they have almost an incapacity to love someone else beside themselves. The challenge I have with the label narcissist is a lot of garden variety selfishness. This is myopic, okay? This is tunnel vision. Men and women alike, this isn't narcissistic men, this is women and men alike can be incredibly myopic to their own needs. In fact, even codependent behavior is rather selfish because it makes it all about oneself. And we could even label that narcissism, but true clinical narcissism is a small percentage. The vast percentage of the population is self-centered, men and women alike. And how you shift from that is to become a giver, not a taker. All right, what makes a guy want to commit more than companionship, sex, and connection? He's in his late 20s. Kimberly, okay. Here's the thing about men in their 20s. And by the way, my predominant demographic is people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. But here's the bottom line. A man who wants to make babies with someone and start a family is going to be looking for a wife. They already have a built-in cause. By the way, I just shot a video. It's coming out in the next day or two. But I talk about the cause of commitment. And what the common cause for those in their 20s is typically starting a family. If you don't have this common cause, it's going to be difficult to gain commitment. Now, that cause might be buying property together. That cause might be working together. But in your 20s, it's typically for men, if they don't have a desire to start a family, it's going to be difficult to create that common cause. And I just want you to be aware of that, Megan. Or Kimberly, excuse me. All right, last week I asked a question. You yelled at me, Sunny Girl. I'm sorry about that. What was the question, Sunny Girl? Okay, how often do you live chat? It's nice. I do it once a week, same bat time every Friday. Here is the feminine energy, Jonathon. Yes, I'm feminine energy because I am I do my best, not always. I'm compassionate, I'm kind. Clueless at times. I can be completely myopic in my own life. I can be self-centered, but consistently, I'd like to think I have empathy. Empathy is the real differentiating point for a person who is self-centered versus the person that cares. Just that woman I shared with you at the beginning, whose boyfriend was being a little bit gruff. He has empathy for his partner, and so when she shared how she felt, he leaned into how she felt. He didn't have to lean back. He leaned into how she felt. By the way, I'm a big leaner in. By the way, always lean into self-love first. All right, I hope that answered your question. Sorry for your loss. Oh, thank you, Lynn, for my loss. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm doing this the best I can. Oh, I'm hearing of the attachment style, fearful and avoidant. What does that exactly mean? So I'm not a proficient expert. I didn't pull out my book, the book Attached. But fearful avoidant is they're afraid of love. They don't trust love. And so sometimes with the fearful avoidant, the minute they get love, it's hard for them to accept it because they don't trust it's going to be there. I shared a video recently about fearful avoidance a couple weeks ago. Google or check out, not Google, but YouTube my video on fearful avoidant. But I used the analogy of the movie Officer and a Gentleman, where Richard Gere or Zach Mayo had been abandoned by his mother when he was a child. So that abandonment caused him not to trust love. So when him and Deborah Winger got close, he pulled away because he doesn't trust love. It takes by the way, a fearful avoidant can absolutely be in a committed relationship. It takes a lot of conscious work with this person. This is why, ladies, I'm a big proponent. Stop giving the commitment responsibility to a man and you take charge of your relationship destiny. Start using your mouths, not ducklets. Use your mouths to talk. You should be talking like what this book talks about. Start real communication instead of, how's your day going? What's up with you today? Is your day today okay? Where are you? Well, how was your day? Oh, I hope you have a good day. That's the kind of rhetoric I see in people's threads on their phone. Let's have some real deep conversation. You know what turns me on? There's a meme called I Love Small Talk. I want to talk about atoms and aliens and the fears you've had. And I want to talk about the deep stuff. I don't want to hear what's up or WhatsApp. Okay. I swear if I didn't reach out and offer suggestions, I'd have never dated any of the guys I did. Thank you, Leanna. Okay. Dating a widower. I'm also a widower. His daughters do not want to meet me at all after 16 months. He promised his late wife to protect them against anxiety, which they are. Dating widowers is a very complicated thing, especially when it comes to children. That's not a very uncommon thing to have happen, Diana, excuse me. I think it's important to express your feelings. If you're going to be if this man, my guess is you are possibly just a place filler in his life. And what I mean to say is, if you're not building roots to partnership, if you're not building the roots to partnership, then it's just simply companionship, connection, and sex. And the reason why he can push you off by not introduce you to his children, because that's one of the elements of commitment, is introducing your family and friends, is he's not going to go down the path of commitment. So you have to ask yourself, what do I want in my life? What do I want in my life? If I want a partnership, if I want to get remarried, if I want to live with someone, then choose someone who wants the same thing. And a person who's unwilling to introduce you to his children, especially if you're having sex together. Again, if the penis gets to go in the vagina, you have every right to ask for what you want. Start asking, ladies. I'm yelling. I'm sorry. Okay, hope that helped. I totally agree with the two-lane street analogy. Thank you, Eileen. Preach, preach. Thank you. Oh, someone wrote preach. What if you live together with a baby on the way, but only she claims him? Wait. What if you live together with a baby on the way, but only she claims him? So Megan, I think what you're saying is you've claimed him, but he hasn't claimed you. You better have a real conversation if you have a child coming along the way, because listen, a lot of people, can procreate children, but if you don't have a plan on how you're going to be a family together, you've got to ask yourself, what's the benefit for the child as well? You should be claiming each other. And it shouldn't be based on whether or not you're pregnant. It should be because you want to build a life together. Start having the real conversations, ladies. Start reading this book so you can have the real conversations, okay? And I'm giving you a big, gigantic hug and wish you all the best in your with your child. All right. I love how you call bullshit. Wish I had a coaching years ago. A lot of people say that to me. I thought maybe it was a cultural thing because he barely 2 years ago I don't get that one. How can you please tell us about, Can you please tell us about online dating pros and cons? Okay, really quickly. The pro, you have access to people you would never otherwise meet in your life. The con, you have access to people you have access to so many people that there's this false sense of choice. False sense of choice. What I mean by false sense of choice is when you're swiping, you think, oh, that person will want me, and that person will want me, and that person will want me, or I want that person, I want that person, I want that person. It's a false sense of choice. The good news is there's a lot of abundance. You have access to people you wouldn't have otherwise in your life. The con is the false sense of choice. Hope that made sense. Okay. Amen to that. Answering questions. What's common cause for relationship in your 40s? Okay. What's the cause? What's the commitment cause? Well, interesting enough, companionship is an important piece of it. I think it's really the important thing is to establish team working skills, team building skills, actually being active participant in each other's personal life and professional life. That's how you build a deeper trust and deeper commitment, when you're actually active participants in each other's personal and professional lives. You know, it's interesting. I'm a single guy, and I think my fantasy is to be with a woman who's also in the relationship realm, so we could shoot videos together and we can talk about these things. She has genuine interest in the things I have interest in, and I have interest in the things she has interest in. But since this is such a predominant part of my life, I'm hoping I meet someone who's kind of the same, so we have this common cause of wanting to help people. Helping people. So another common cause might be your humanitarian efforts. It might be, it's going beyond yourself. Like, to me, my passion is to do this, and I'm grateful. I make abundance of money. I'm so grateful at that. But to me, it's because I love sharing all of the experiences. The reason why I recommend all these books, Because I could sell you on buy my $5,000 program, which should just be a compilation of these books. Or what I can do is tell you where you can, for 15 bucks a month, gain the insight yourself. I want to encourage you to begin a path of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. Personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. Can I get an amen to that? Here, listen to this song. Oh, song cut out. All right, you got the gist of it. All right, what's our next question? Please tell us about the pros. Okay, we already did that. They have to have a cause. Okay, talk a little bit about inner child wounds. Do you believe in that? Okay, here's a good question from Law of the Heart. Law of Love of the Heart. Talk a little bit about inner child wounds. Do you believe in them, and can a man fear of commitment because of this? Absolutely. I didn't bring up my, here, everyone hold on a second. Bear with me. Okay. Because of this such a powerful, important question, I want to dig into this. Understanding, there's a great, so there's a great book called Getting the Love You Want by Harvell Hendrix and Helen Hunt. Harvell Hendrix and Helen Hunt. Why this is such an important book is we tend to choose relationships very similar to the patterning of our parents. This is why I also read the book Attached, so you can understand attachment style. But this person's question relates to childhood wounds. Now, I did a workshop called The Hoffman Process. The Hoffman Process. This was a deep dive into my childhood wounds that caused me to have negative patterns and limiting beliefs in my life. And by the way, I just noticed my glasses makes one eye bigger than the other. That sucks. Okay, so in this Hoffman process, I learned why what happened in my childhood caused me to have negative patterns and limiting beliefs in my life, and actually I'm a recovering codependent. And I also was afraid of love because I didn't trust love. Well, by doing this inner work, I'm able to continually heal on myself. In fact, I was there during my birthday, and it's so coincidental. I happened to be there during my birthday, and one of the things that they do is a big birthday celebration, not for people at birthdays, it's for everybody. And I got to reach in a grab bag and grab a gift, and look what I grabbed. I'm a Leo. I happen to be August 1st birthday. I got a Leo, I got a lion. It was so representative of me because I like to think of myself as a lion. I have a mane. I've got my mane of hair. And I like to have it stroked, or I'm a words of affirmation guy. So the Hoffman Process, a great place. I recommend. By the way, I've recently started coaching men, and I make them all go through this book. This is so powerful for healing childhood wounds and traumas that I highly recommend it. All right, I hope I helped on that one. Thanks for answering my question so honestly. I think I already knew, but okay, that was Virginia. What are the roots of commitment? Someone asked. Hold on a second. What are the roots of companionship? Well, actually, roots of commitment is something I teach in my private coaching practice. So in my private coaching, I have a 5-week boot camp I put everyone through. It's called Shortcut to Mr. Right, where I teach you the roots to commitment. Now, that's something I do individually for everyone. So check out a link to a free discovery call if you want some support on that. All right. This happened with a guy I was dating months ago. I'd known for years. An opportunity came up for him to meet some of my family casually, and he refused. It was a major red flag. Leanna, I had the same thing happen. I met a woman who would refuse to meet my children. There's my kids. She did not want to meet my children because her father abandoned her, and she had serious trust issues, and she was very open and admitted to it. But for me, my children are part of my life. If you do not want to be a part of their life, then I don't want you as my partner. I want a partner who can do this, that can eventually lead to this. And if there's issues there, I wished her all the well. And trust me, people that have inherent trust issues and fear of intimacy, don't make really good partners. So I'm a big proponent of those who are unafraid to lean into the tough stuff, because if you can lean into that's a tiny little thing. Look at meeting someone's children is now to that person, it's a big deal, but in the scheme of things, it's a little thing. And so if someone's unwilling to do that, that's not the person I want in my life. That's my invitation. Crystal dating coach, online dating rules, meet in public place and never get in their car. Yes, that is, okay. So Crystal dating coach, online dating rules, meet in a public place and never get in someone's car. I would agree with that. Diana, the widower here again, committed, and we're planning our wedding and buying furniture home. His parents, friends, and I are frequent communicators. It's just the promise to his late wife. Well, I don't see how you can get married to someone who won't introduce you to their kids, Diana. That just doesn't make sense to me. How to find a guy that's ready for a relationship. Most guys online want one night stands. I'm 39. I thought dating older would be better, and my profile is not trashy. Okay. Yes, a lot of men want sex. We're biological creatures. Ladies, you've been so conditioned to understand men are hunters. What are we hunting? We're hunting sex. What a great venue. Yes, the internet is a great venue to get laid. But not all men are that way. Not all men are that way. So you have a choice. You can say all men just want sex. And guess what? Every man you meet, that's all he wants. Or you can shift the narrative inside yourself and say, the right man for me wants a fully committed relationship. Start focusing on what you want instead of, yes, a lot of men are that way. But let me give you an example. An Olympic athlete doesn't say every other person is better than me, so why compete? They go, you know what? I'm going to do the best I can. And no matter what happens, I'm going to be happy with the result. Yes, a lot of men want sex, okay? And there are a lot of men like myself who want a fully committed relationship. How do you do that? You vet them. And if you want to learn how to vet men, schedule a coaching session with me. That's my area of expertise. All right, Crystal's dating coach says, amen. Okay, Kate writes, I find men in their 50s not in the partnership realm. They'd rather be in a relationship or friends with benefits. I know there are partner-minded men out there, but I have not found them. Any suggestions? Well, Kate, my first suggestion, start shifting the narrative. Take that narrative, a lot of men are not, and start focusing on the right guy for me wants a relationship with me. The right guy for me wants a relationship with me. The right guy for me wants a relationship for me. We can focus on all the negative and you'll just attract more negative. Or you can shift the narrative inside. Because the reality is yes, a lot of people aren't. By the way, ladies, I can't tell you how many flaky women are in the dating realm. I was communicating with a woman the other day on a dating app and she totally flaked on me. She just did a total MIA. Now, does that make her a bad person? No. Does that make all women bad people? No. It just, she ghosted me for whatever reason. And I sent love and compassion her way. I sent love and compassion her way. I could judge it. By the way, trustworthy people don't judge. You can send love and compassion. You can be generous or you can be judgmental. You make the choice. That's my invitation. Leanna, thank you. Hi, Jonathan, made it. Wait a minute. This is so fun. Thank you. When you're looking for a partner, how much do looks play into your choice? Do you go beyond looks or other men? Well, let's face it. You got to want to have sex with a person. So you want to be at least attractive enough to them to want to have sex. Now, here's the tricky part. If you go on a first date with a guy that's not your type, but you have a great connection with them, my suggestion is give the guy 3 chances. And let me tell you why. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women who are in happy relationship, and nearly one third, you get the gist. 1/3 have said to me, and I quote, I wasn't attracted to my guy on the first, second, or third date, and something shifted. Women tend to fall in love more between the ears. We men fall in love with our eyes. So we men are more physical creatures and women tend to be more emotional creatures. So I would say if you have a great connection with a guy on a first date, but you're not attracted to him, Give them a chance. You might be surprised. That's my invitation for you. Okay. Can you share light on what some relationship coaches share as usually the opposite? Like they say, manipulation doesn't work, but it does. Guys that girls like hook them, and guy stays and not run. So, okay, so here's the thing about, I think what Beth's referring to is the rules or reverse psychology in games. Yes, those work. Reverse psychology games works. Treat a woman like shit and she'll just keep coming back to more because she's a doormat, as an example. This is what a lot of pickup artist coaches treat. There's something called negging, okay? Just neg on her, be negative about her, and she'll just keep coming back for more because that triggers her childhood wounds of what happened in her, with her parents, and she'll just crave that. People crave bad behavior because they're unhealthy people, emotionally unhealthy people. Why in the hell would you want to be in a relationship with an unhealthy person? And if you're emotionally unhealthy, that means you're not ready for a relationship, because if these techniques work, if reverse psychology and game playing works, it's a temporary work. This is why the divorce rate is over 50% here in the United States. And I say this because most of the time, emotionally unhealthy people are hooking up, but they never reach full commitment with each other because their foundation is weak. This is why there's another book I want you to check out. It's called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended Upon It. This is 60 pages. It's $4 to buy. It's $4 to buy. It'll take you it literally take 15 minutes to read this. But it's a piggyback to my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? Because you don't have to play games or manipulate. And quite frankly, the woman that's going to win my heart is a woman who follows this book called The Buddha Dated, because this takes the penis and vagina or gender out of the game playing. And it's talking about how to connect at a heart-centered level. A heart-centered level. That's what I wish for everyone, to begin connecting at a heart-centered level instead of these fucking stupid games that are being taught. This reverse psychology, lean back so he can claim you. That works for a moment, but if you're emotionally unhealthy or he's emotionally unhealthy, this relationship will implode. It'll implode. I can guarantee it. All right. Thanks, Beth. How do you let go of wanting someone who doesn't want you? Susan writes, how do you let go of wanting someone who doesn't want you? You know what? You already know I'm going to curse. You know the answer. You just let go. Because, and let me tell you, the best way to let go is to begin a daily practice of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. Read my book. You know what? Spend all your time, instead of thinking about him, spend all that time reading books, 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 reading books. I promise you, if you do enough reading books, you'll let go of him quickly. Focus your attention on you and start reading books or watching videos. But don't watch videos on how to let go of a guy. Read books that will help nurture your soul. You know, one of my dear friends is Catherine Woodward Thomas. In fact, she wrote I don't know what this is called, a testimonial on my book. Catherine Woodward Thomas wrote the book called Calling in the One. Has anyone ever read this book? This is a New York Times bestseller. I am so grateful. Here's a picture of her. There she is, my friend. She actually helped me write my book. She was actively participant in it. Calling in the One. This is a great book to start calling in people in your life that are more attuned to who you are and what you want. And in fact, my whole coaching practice is very similar to the work she does. It's like if you took her and Tony Robbins and put them together, that's who I am. Very passionate, very demonstrative in the work I'm doing. So that's my invitation for you, is start taking control of your relationship destiny and let go of people who are not wanting you. How do you let go? You invest in yourself. My dad married someone I never met in person. Well, okay. I mean, yes, there's the exception to the rule. I'm just saying is I would prefer to be in a relationship with someone who wants to introduce me to their children. If a woman's afraid to introduce me to her children, I don't want to. I'm not going there. That's just me. You're right on the internet. is a great venue for men to get laid. That is true. And by the way, great venue for women to get laid. Women get laid on the internet just like men get laid, okay? This is not a one-sided street. The woman who is giving sex to a man is also getting laid. All right. You're right about focusing on what you want. Thank you, Ardley. Okay. Yes, dedicated the whole month of February for self-love workshops. Yay, Erica. Leanna writes, for sure, my family is in my life too, so it's a deal breaker for me. He turned out to be lying about, okay, so see, all right. Do you have a list of books on your website? Yes, Leanna, go to Jonathon Recommends. Jonathon Recommends. Okay, I hate Beth, right? I hate games. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Wait a minute, I say that. I just have to be me and filled with love, and the universe will make sure who's meant for me to be in my life. Absolutely. But everybody, did you read that? That's a very important thing that she just wrote. Doris writes, we need to give love a chance until we have to let go of toxic behaviors. Yeah, look at, I remember after my breakup with my most significant relationship after my divorce, and I was a basket case, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to give up on love. I can't trust love. I was just so like, I mean, I was heartbroken. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting with my dear friend, Dennis, who's a mediator. And he goes, Jonathon, love is a risk. Putting yourself out there is a huge risk. And he also said, it's the best game in town. You know what the best game in town that I've learned since then? And for those of you know that I lost my son, Connor. The most devastating thing that happened in my life is to lose a child. And I could easily have gotten down the road of drugs and alcohol and destructive behavior. And I chose a different path. I said to myself, I'm going to grieve with love. And what I did was an exploration of self-love. In fact, that's what encouraged me to write my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? Connor is in here. He is so much a part of this book. And why I'm sharing this with you is that I realized that when I began loving on myself, and this happened after I did the Hoffman process in 2017, that was the beginning to really enrich my life with love, recognizing loving myself and everyone else, loving myself and everyone else, loving myself and everyone else. You see, it's an and. It's not or, it's and. They are equal. And my invitation for you is to lean into loving yourself, because when you love yourself, you can navigate the inner chaos of pain. And look I'm not going to say I don't have some tough days, because, you know, I wake up every day going, he's alive, and then I have the memory he's not. But I share this with you. It's the love I have for myself and for him and for humanity that gets me through the day. And that's my invitation for everyone here. And I hope you take some value in what I just shared. Can you do a coaching session if we're stuck on one certain guy and talk about the best approach? Judy, yes, I do one-off coaching for individual men. So if you want support, I have a 3-part coaching program to help you evaluate a guy. So yes, I can do that, Judy. Oh, brother, you're so funny. Thank you. I love the idea of having the man to meet my child. Yes. And Beth, you need to do an in-person workshop. Yes, Beth, I want to do in-person workshops. You cannot be with beverages. Exactly. Doris writes, turn your love inward on yourself and read Jonathon's dating self-help books. Oh, thank you so much. I think this would be a great place to wrap it up for today. I'm going to quickly repeat. Read the book, Dare to Lead. These are the 7 elements of trust. Google it right now. I think this would be of great value. I'm going to read them really quickly. Boundaries, reliability, accountability, the vault, integrity, non-judgment, and generosity. Oh, and by the way, yes, I highly recommend the book, The Untethered Soul, as well. So everyone, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for allowing me to come on live today and sharing with you. This is my passion. This is my joy. This is my way of honoring Connor. This really is a way, because he had this ability to not let other people affect him. There's a chapter in my book called Don't Let Anyone Fuck With Your Chi, and that was dedicated to him. And my invitation for you all is you don't need a man to love you for you to feel good about yourself. In other words, you don't need anyone to love you for you to feel good about yourself. You can do that all on your own. And when you've mastered, now, let me backtrack. When you begin the journey of loving on yourself, great people start coming into your life. And that's my invitation for you all. So those who know me know, by the way, here's this isn't Salty. Salty's over there, my other know that when I wrap up videos, I like to first off give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I like to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love, if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone or a pet or a stuffed animal or a pillow and give it or them a hug of love. Because hugs, I should say, are a great source of love, and we can all use more love in our lives. I want to thank you so much and say bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Wait a minute. Let's turn on the music one more time before we wrap up. Don't stop me now. Have a good time. You know this song? Having a good time. Don't stop me because I'm having a good time. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.